What's up, guys? It's MugenLord here, and today we're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. This is something that the Xenoblade fans were hoping for and was waiting for a very long time. And it was kind of amazing that now that we look at it, now that we have an actual official announcement and a release date of March 20th of 2025, which is next month, which is also my birthday month, which is kind of cool as well. Now we can officially say that all of the Xenoblade games can now be played on the Nintendo Switch. We got the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition of the very first game, which was originally released on the Nintendo Wii and also eventually released on Nintendo 3DS. And then we also have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and its expansion, Golden Country of Torna, and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and its expansion, which is Future Redeemed. So now we have everything, now that it's been announced that the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles X is here. Now, from what I've seen, we've seen a ton of gameplay that came out, that this is not just your typical port, because when you look at the first game, which is the definitive edition of the first Xenoblade game, they took very little liberties. You know, we did get that visual enhancement and everything, but all the other thing of old artifacts and assets of the original game was still there. But it seemed like they really went up in ante and put a lot of effort when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. And I believe, in my personal opinion, yes, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition for the Wii U was a very impressive and, dare I say, a very ambitious game for the scope and, you know, the resources that it had to take from Nintendo Wii U in order to process a lot of the environment, the enemies on the screen, and everything like that. So yes, it's very, very impressive that they were able to accomplish that. And now that we have the definitive edition, you know, many were wondering, like, how much would they actually put effort into this? And apparently that they did, especially when it comes to the quality of life changes when it comes to this title altogether. So more importantly, I think the biggest issue, and the issue that I have, which we're going to get into many of my issues that I had with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, one of the biggest issues that I'm glad that they have actually changed is the fact is that there's I think over 20 party members, and if you also look, there's an additional 4 slots, so we may even get 4 extra characters that's going to be added into the game as well. But the main problem was, anytime you wanted to switch out party members, you had to go back to the hub world, which is LA, which is like the lost LA that they had there. So you had to go all the way back there, and then you had to find a specific spot that the party member is at in order to recruit them and have them in your party. So anytime you out there, out in the distance, leveling up, riding your scales and everything like that, if you wanted to go back and change your character, you have to fly right back to Lost LA or New LA, go back there and find that specific character. And sometimes that takes forever. Sometimes you have to remember where those characters were located and everything. And I'm glad that now you have an actual reserved party slot. So now you can be able to change your characters on the fly. And another good thing about it is even though they're in your reserved party slot, they also gain the same amount of experience points. So that was another bummer, or a lot of other hours you have to sink in, is if you have a set party and you level them up too much, those other characters don't get experience points, which means you have characters that's lagging behind in levels, and you get to the point where you say, you know what, I'm going to just stick to these characters that I have and don't experiment and try with other characters. So that's a good quality of life change that they have also done, which is another thing I wanted to bring up. Now you can actually change the time, instead of going to the tower or the nodes to change the time of day that you want to cycle through. Now you can do it anytime you want, and when that happens, you're able to actually attack the quest or the missions that you wanted to do that only appears at a certain time within that cycle, which is also awesome. Now, to address the things, or address the title of this video, will this be the opportunity for this game to actually win me over? Because if you don't know, I was not such a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles X. I was not at all. And in fact, this was actually my first Xenoblade game. Now, my brother Keo has owned and still own the original Wii Xenoblade Chronicles game. So I decided, okay, I want to get into Xenoblade. I love Xeno because I own Xenogears. I love Xenogears. I played Xenosaga. So I wanted to get on board with this new Xeno game to add to my Xeno collection. And I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to go all out on this, especially after they made that big Wii U reveal of Xenoblade Chronicles X. And you know me, When they showed that X at the end of the Wii U trailer, that was the Xenogears X, which implied to me that, yo, are we going to get some Xenogear elements or some type of Xenogears type of story? And then it actually had mechs or gears, or in this case, scales in this game. So I was like, yo, it's very mech heavy, which I missed from the Xeno series, because Xenoblade Chronicles don't really focus on its mechs, which I hope the next future series or entry, like Xenogears or Xenoblade 4, hopefully we get back into the gears, like the mechs and everything, but I digress. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. So I went all out. And just to show you guys how much of a fan of the Xenoblade series that I am, or just Xeno in general, when it comes to Xenoblade, man, I went all out with the Wii U. And I had went out, and I just wanted to have the guide, because the book looked so beautiful, especially at the time that I had bought this at GameStop. I bought this, and I said, you know what, I gotta have this. So I got the guide, and then on top of the guide, I also bought the collection. I bought the collection for this game. And you turn around in the back. So I was heavily into it. I was committed when I went out and paid all this money for Xenoblade Chronicles, because I wanted that. I wanted to get that Xeno experience. So when I got the game, popped it open, and of course you was greeted to creating a custom character. And I think that's one of the other bigger gripes when it comes to my JRPGs at times. Like, I don't have a problem with silent protagonists, but when it comes to RPGs, when you have to create an avatar, it kind of pulls me out of it, because I like to follow a particular hero or protagonist, and you follow their story, and because that character has the personality to interact with the other cast members. But I had a sense that I was going to lose that once you get to the point where you have to create a character avatar, and now you're a part of the story. And now I feel less hands off from the story, you know, now that I'm playing as this silent hero. And I thought I was going to get more of that traditional type of JRPG, linear story progression, you know, and also you follow a protagonist. So that was kind of a bummer when it came to that. And so that was the first check off for me, like the turn off for me. And then once I actually got into the game as well and started playing it, it just did not click with me, because now I started discovering that when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles X wasn't like the previous Xenoblade game that was released on the Nintendo Wii, the first Xenoblade game, where Xenoblade 1, you had Shulk and his party, and you had a linear storytelling. This game was more about exploration, and story was like second to that. Now, there is story to be found in the game, but that's not the priority. The priority of the game is more so going out and exploring this new world, this vast world, and you can go at it at your own pace and everything. And that was something that I wasn't looking for when it came to this game. I wanted an actual story, linear progression, or a linear storytelling type of format for, you know, when I play JRPGs, and I didn't get that. And then on top of that, you have to reach certain levels and get a certain amount of nodes that were on the original game, on the, you know, especially when you had the Wii U gamepad. You had to get a certain amount of those, and once you did that, that allows you to gain access to further progress in the story. So now my story progression is always at a halt when I didn't reach a certain level, and then I have to go out, go back and explore and find other nodes and areas and stuff like that. And it really took me out of it. I did not like it at all. And then on top of that, you only really had control over your avatar. You couldn't really use the other characters or anything like that. I could be wrong. Like I said, I quit the game, so I don't know how. Like, I quit at the point where I was first introduced to my first scale, and I just stopped playing. I just lost the enthusiasm and to actually get through the game, because it just wasn't clicking for me. And then on top of that, even the music, there was some music that had great vocals and stuff, but the battle music, when it had that rap theme, it's kind of like rap and stuff like that, it just sounded kind of cringy and stuff like that. So some of the music was hit and miss for me as well, so it really didn't pull me in. But I did say this, we fast forward to now, I said to myself that, hey, if this game does get a remaster or a definitive edition, I would like to go back and revisit the game. Because I say that is because after Xenoblade Chronicles X, after I quit playing it on the Wii U, of course the Switch released, and I got a chance to actually play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and to show that how much, like, I love these games, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just changed my whole reality. And I'm not lying. I'm not kidding you. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, if you check out a previous video that I did a couple years ago, how Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had reinvigorated my love for JRPGs, it most certainly did. And out of all the Xenoblade games, this is still my #1 Xenoblade game that I love to death. I even went out the way and I even bought the collector's edition on launch as well. I fell in love with this game. I loved every last bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So after that changed my whole perspective on Xenoblade, after the bad taste that Xenoblade Chronicles X had left in my mouth, I was like, you know what, I'm more willing to go back and actually play it. And of course, I got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Golden Country of Torna, which to me is the best Xenoblade expansion, or just the best Xenoblade game. The expansion was an even better experience than the base game. Love every last bit of it. So this is still like my #1 Xenoblade game of all time and everything. And of course, I went back and bought the definitive edition, which is still in the plastic, of Xenoblade Chronicles, the very first game. And then of course, can't forget Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I got and they didn't have no box for the Future Connected, or the Future Redeemed, I meant the Future Redeemed expansion, but I got that digitally on my Nintendo Switch. Love every last bit of Xenoblade Chronicles. So now, after I got my experience, you know, from this game and from these entries, I said to myself, you know what, I want to go back in and actually give Xenoblade Chronicles X another try, the definitive edition another try, which comes out March 20th, my birthday month. I'm super excited for that. So I'll definitely want to give it a try and see if it actually pulls me in. I'm going to try to go through it again. Now that we have this quality of life changes that's added to the game as well. And then of course, if you don't know, there's extra story at the end. And the good part about it is the extra story is not a separate option like they do like the expansions on the other games. No, after you finish completing the first part of the game, the base game or the base story, it goes right in at the end game of the new story. Now, people are speculating the new story is going to tie everything up in Xenoblade Chronicles X and end it, because they said it ended abruptly, where it is like there needs to be more to this. So it seems like as though that may be the possibility. And we were also introduced to some new characters, and people believe that those 4 character slots may be the new characters. They may be included when we do the post game after playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. So yes, I'm definitely going to dive into it to give it a try, to see if it pulls me in. I'm going to try to go through it. Of course, we'll make some videos about it as well. Now, another thing that got me curious too is, will the multiplayer return? Because I know people got some places, some outlets got hands-on with the game, but they don't have full hands-on of other features. Matter of fact, there's still embargoes on certain other things as far as the game is concerned. So I'm curious to see if the multiplayer is still intact, and if the multiplayer is intact, like how I guess say in depth will it be? Will it still be the same as it was in the past, which I never got a chance to play it, or is there going to be newly added features to the multiplayer? Is it going to be more fleshed out to make it much more of a serious aspect added to this game that gamers or fans of the Xenoblade Chronicles series will constantly keep coming back for to actually play? So that's something that really got my interest. But I'm definitely looking forward to this game. Can't wait to give it a try. It comes out next month. I don't even know when I'm going to jump into it. When I do buy the game, I'm probably not going to play it right away. And of course, I got a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 gamepad as well. Like I said, I'm dead serious. I'm like a fan of the Xeno series and everything. So I'm definitely looking forward to give it a try, to have my hands on time with it as well. Just don't know when I'm actually going to jump on it, because I still have a backlog of games. But I'm definitely going to make that a priority to actually play the game and see if I like it and enjoy it. This time I may do a playthrough with a female character first, opposed to the male character I had in the Wii U version. We'll see how that's going to go, but yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a try. So definitely let me know in the comment sections below, what do you think about Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition? Have you played the original on the Wii U? If so, what was your favorite aspect of the game? Did you like the story? Was you excited about the story? And what features are you excited about for the Definitive Edition? And also, what features are you hoping maybe added or extra quality of life changes? Especially, I want to know more about the multiplayer as well. If the multiplayer is actually going to return, don't know just yet. But I definitely want to know about that as well. Is that something that you're looking forward to? And if you're curious about that. So that pretty much wraps this video up. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.